So I started by altering the ghost girl design to have dungarees instead of the skirt because it would have been difficult to drape, and if it were to be animated it would be a lot more difficult to do, so I changed it to the dungarees that you can see there in the sketch. So this was the final model, and as we decided to only use it for one shot, we posed the arms, and the bow I found confusing, and because it was mainly used as a silhouette, I left it out. I used box modeling to achieve this, and I did keep looking at the other character as reference to get that stylistic shape of kind of the trousers and that kind of like thickness, weight to it that I liked. To get the clothes mesh, I just separated from the body that I'd made previously, and then sculpted it from there. So we've got the shirt and the dungarees. So this is the UVs, and using create from camera, and then I cut the seams and then use create from camera again to kind of get a nicer UV layout that looks right on the character. And I use Clip Studio Paint, and I've removed the UV template from the image so it looks right on the character. Don't get any confusing lines. Yeah, and just use, I think, one brush and a few different tones to create the textures for the character. So yes, this is the final character there, and I was quite pleased with the kind of ghostly gradient look, and I think it looked really good with the powdery brush texture as well. So this was the set design. I kind of mainly looked at the color key and the storyboard as my main references, and then there I've also put the textures that I used, they were used in other scenes so that they will kind of fit the same kind of visual language, and the frame I did in Photoshop. So this is the hallway set, and I applied the textures and up the roughness on them so I didn't get any strange shining from the lights. And I stuck to the sort of greyish blue colour palette to fit in with the gloomy kind of cold tone of the scene. My version goes into a dark spot, and I just thought it was a bit more ominous. I beveled the sharp edges on the walls and frames as well. That's something I was pulled up on, and I used a transparent sort of reflected layer to kind of give the impression of glass. To get the wire, I attached a cylinder to a CV curve, and then I just extruded and added divisions to kind of make that cable. And this was taken just before I imported the detailed lights as well. And that is a screenshot of the final render. I liked how the kind of yellow light seems more eerie, I think, because it's contrasted with the stark white torch beam. And I also did have to use another light. I used an area light just so that we can see the character properly. And then there's the wireframe, just so you can see the sort of the bezels and details in there. So for the girl character, I started animating the walk with the waist, and then sliding the feet along, and then after that adding the arm movement. And then after that I kind of went into more detail, and I delayed the sort of hip movements to give a sense of weight. And I changed the left hand position for more dynamic posed, and I just think it gave her a better impression of sort of creeping around tentatively in sort of abandoned space. And then the last thing I did was sound effects in Premiere. I did the camera buzz, the dripping sounds and footsteps, and I think just really added to the empty, abandoned kind of setting. I adjusted the volume of all of them as well so that everything was audible and nothing was too sort of stand out or overpowering. And then I could send it to the media encoder to get the MP4 file to be put into the final trailer.